My name's Sean Musikian. I believe my assistant found Legal Match. She got me a few options for finding an attorney, and I think she just did a web search, Google search,
Hmm.
and this is one of the resources that she produced, and it seemed competitive as far as the fees that we were looking at. I needed some very simple contracts written up, just independent contractor agreements. So we didn't want to go nuts with the spend there. And she pulled a few resources, and Legal Match was one of them. And it just caught my eye. It seemed like the most sensible one. We needed some basic independent contractor agreements written up to outline the relationships that we have with the facilities we work with, as well as the facilitators that I employ to go and work in the facilities. And we just needed a basic agreement written up that kind of covered the fundamental bases. It was great. Stanley, our attorney, Stanley Immerman, was awesome, super professional, super quick, did not require a ton of explaining or re-explaining. I think we had like 1.5 phone calls. The first one, I gave him kind of the whole long story of what we do and yada yada yada, the specifics of the contracts we needed and our relationships with everybody and how they all work. And then he got started on the contracts, and then we had like one follow-up call that was very brief, I think like 15 minutes, where he just double checked on a few things to make sure he was clear. And that was it. And he wrote them up. I don't remember how long it took. I think maybe like a few days, 4 or 5 days, something like that. Stanley had his resume. He had some experience that seemed like it was close enough to what we wanted to do with like business law and contract law. And he seemed well qualified with his education and background. He studied somewhere that was pretty impressive. And he's an older gentleman too. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he seemed very experienced. He seemed like he's seen a lot. And like, I'm relatively young, so I value that experience. I think the flexibility of being able to kind of like have a few options to look over their qualifications and their resume experience, all that kind of stuff, before I was actually like in the room with them. Because sometimes when you're like in the room with somebody, then first of all, you spend a lot of time just chatting about things that aren't necessarily related to the work that needs to get done, which is fine. It's totally human, but that can also sometimes distract from the important matters that need to get addressed. And so it's kind of nice to just have a few different options laid out that I had a chance to look over before making a decision or meeting anybody or even making a phone call and talking to them. Because there were a few that seemed like really qualified attorneys there that they probably do a really good job at what they do. But they weren't necessarily like exactly as qualified as Stanley. There was just like one or two. I was kind of like, she seems cool or he seems cool, but not quite what we're looking for. So I guess it just saves time there and not having to actually like take the call and burn 30 minutes or so talking to somebody just to find out that it's not the right fit, when you can really just look at their profile and pretty much determine that, at least for some things. There's some things you got to talk to the person to figure out, but base qualifications. I would tell him it was great. I mean, I would just tell him about my experience. What if my total spend, $600, something like that, to get a couple contracts written up? Like, it was a really fair price. I felt quick turnaround and easy to use.